Kansas and Western fans. It's time for episode number 41 of the construction of the Kansas and Western HO scale model railroad. I hope you enjoyed that little montage at the beginning there. That's something I enjoy watching on other people's channels, so I think I'm going to start adding those to mine at the beginning of these construction updates to feature the areas of the layout I've been working on the previous 2 weeks. So today we're going to do something a little bit different than normal. I'm going to go ahead and feature the 2 areas that I worked on at the beginning, and then we're going to do the tour at the end to give you guys ideas of what to vote for the next 2 weeks. So starting front and center, which is part of the reason I'm doing this because it's hard to avoid, we have the Wichita yard, and as you can see, I got the other part of the bridge done. I did a how I build stuff video on how I did that, so if you haven't seen that, you can check that out. But as you can see also, I've got a lot more ballasting done here for the Wichita yard. It may not seem like a whole lot, but you got to remember this is 8 tracks and about 3 feet of ballast work done. So it does take a little time because I am hand painting all of the track. You can see the rust colored rails and then the different weathering on the ties. So it does take a little bit of time to do that, but I'm pretty happy with the results. Happy how it looks. You can see I didn't quite ballast everything across the whole 8 tracks. And although I started to do that initially, I decided it would be better to leave some space to give me the possibility to do some dirt and some weeds. If I'd built everything up to the same height with the ballast, it wouldn't leave me very much depth to do any variety. And although the Wichita yard is fairly clean in terms of debris and grass and weeds and all that, there are some spots here and there where some dirt has crept in, a little bit of mud, a little bit of weeds here and there. And I do want to represent that in the layout, and I look forward to giving that a try scenery-wise. So that's why I left some spots here that aren't ballasted. It's not that I forgot to do them. It's just that I wanted to leave me some options, leave myself some options to do some other things in those spaces. Even like a drainage culvert with a grate somewhere in the middle, maybe off to the side, that leads to some drainage ditches or something. So that's why that's not done. But otherwise, the bridges I'm happy with. Obviously, they still need to be striped, weathered. I look forward to giving that a shot. I've never weathered any structure for that matter, much less a bridge. So I'll be looking at other channels to see what they do for something like that. But something else to do there, and it looks like I forgot to paint these 2 bumpers here, but otherwise I really like the look of this. It provides some interesting visual perspective. It breaks up this long open area of just yard. Not that I really mind that view, but I think once this is all ballasted and I have a lot more cars in my collection, because obviously I still have quite a ways to go in terms of collection building, I think this will look really, really cool. So anyway, moving on, the other area that I worked on was holly. I didn't quite get any ballast added. You can see I've got the ballast done for the entire main line. I got these concrete crossings from Walthers in, so I just have to cut those to size and get those installed, glued down. What I did learn though was I didn't ballast this area because I wasn't quite sure how the ballast would interact with these concrete crossings. But I think as long as I'm careful just to keep the ballast below the tops of the ties, that crossing will sit right on top. Now, the angle on either side of the track, I'm still not sure about. So any recommendations you guys might have for how to handle that, especially between tracks that are a little bit different level. It might be easier just to do like a joint compound or something similar between the tracks, not worry about doing these styrene strips there. I'm not sure. Never done a grade crossing before, so definitely open to suggestions for something like that. But otherwise, the main line is done here for holly. These 2 spurs, I have all the weathering done up to these 2 turnouts. They just need to have ballast added. Might go ahead and do that this weekend. These are going to be 2 of my more interesting areas in the layout in terms of ballast, because in the holly area, these subsidiary tracks are not in horrible shape. I mean, they're serviceable, but they're definitely neglected. So I want to try to exhibit that with these 2 spurs. Small amount of ballast, a lot more dirt, grass, weeds growing up between. So looking forward to trying that. But otherwise, from there, and I also got this other grain elevator kit, which is basically the same. Well, it is the same as that kit, but I'm going to modify it quite a bit to finish out this structure here, which I'm calling a seed distributor. So I have all the kits now for Holly, so that's something I could certainly work on. So I'm going to go back and start from the beginning. Those are the 2 areas that I got done for the last 2 weeks. I was tasked with working on track weathering and ballast, so I did get quite a bit of that done. So we'll start from the beginning here. All right, now we're over here at the Royal Gorge route, which is kind of the beginning of the tour. Lots of scenic work to do here. We're going to repaint this rock wall because I kind of screwed it up. So that's something that needs to be done. I've got a pretty good collection of trees now, so I could go ahead and work on the transition between this backdrop and the scenic areas with trees similar to those to go up and down these ridges here. Still quite a bit of track weathering and ballast to finish this main line and siding and the river scene and the road. So just basically a lot of scenic work left to do in this scene. And then we wrap over here to Canon City. If you saw my last operations episode, it revolved around this area. A lot of track weathering and ballast. Need to put a backdrop in. Need to get another kit or two to finish the downtown area. There'll be a scenic partition there between the Canon City downtown and this Portland cement plant. The plant itself, all the structures are basically in place. Just need to finish each structure out. There's a lot of detail left for these silos. I did have a secondary pair of silos here in the corner that I ended up placing somewhere else. I'm considering buying another set to fill this scene out to add a little bit more detail for that. Not sure yet, but more structure work in terms of details and painting to do there. And then I need to do a scenic transition to hide these portals. We'll make our way around to the end of the peninsula. Over here to Pueblo. All the track, except for these final spurs into the plant itself, are glued down. This weekend, while you guys are voting, I'm going to go ahead and get power to all these tracks. I want this area to be my next operations session to see how this complex maze works out. So I'm just going to get power run to those tracks this weekend so I can do that for my next video. And then if I have time, I'm going to get to work on this structure here so that I can go ahead and lay these last 3 tracks for this whole scene. Let me follow the main line over here to La Junta Yard. Basically just need a backdrop, track weathering and ballast, and then probably some detail work. I want to finish this transload dock, which I think I'm going to make a little bit longer to fit between these tracks. Maybe add a different ramp, I'm not sure. And then I have the deck for this highway finished. I just need to finish one more of these supports all the way here to the foreground. And then add some foam for the base for that. And then obviously work on this river scene, which I haven't touched yet. Let me wrap around to Lamar. Needs a backdrop, track weathering and ballast. A little more structure work here for the seed oil refinery. More details to be added here for the fertilizer plant. And someday I'll put a top on this co-op. And then I need an elevator for these silos, or these bins. And obviously track weathering and ballast for the tracks. We wrap around the corner here to Holly, the area I worked on. Need to build this other grain elevator that incorporates into these tanks here. And more detail to add and paint work to do for these structures here. And then I get to basically work on scenic areas here. Track weathering and ballast, obviously, to finish that out. I don't think this will take too long. I just have 2 or 3 more tracks to do, but they're not very long. And then the rest of it's going to be, you know, we've got gravel parking lots to consider. This grade crossing with a paved road. And this is a really flat area, actually, so probably won't do much in terms of any kind of scenic dirt work, ditches or anything like that. It's really, really flat. And then the other thing I need to add obviously is a fascia here, so I can hide all this transition around the corner. Putting a small hill cut or some trees to hide the main line as it disappears into the helix here, so you're not going to be able to see that portal. All right, up here to the Holcomb power plant. Track weathering and ballast. As you can see, you've got the mainline ballast done up to that point, so it wouldn't take much more to get the mainline ballast done to here. I need to finish the fascia addition across to the front over to Garden City. Need to figure out this coal pile. I've had a lot of good suggestions about what to do there. Haven't settled on one yet because I just haven't been working on this area, but if I were to work on this area, that'd be probably one of the first things I'd figure out, just to get that part of the scene figured out. Still need to finish this substation. I was working on an expansion of the plant itself, still have some more parts to add to that, plus some detail, as well as just working on the entire power plant yard, which would basically just be gravel, but I have to add that. And then a few trees and some probably prairie grass around the top of this helix. Transition over here to Garden City. I still need to order the main structures for these two facilities, Helena Chemical and Midwest PMS. You can see you have some empty spaces here left for those. So just need to figure out what kind of kits I want to do and get those ordered so I can finish the structures for these scenes. I think I'm pretty well maxed out on tanks. I guess I was going to get some of the refinery tanks that Waller's offers, because there are some larger tanks both of these industries have. So look at adding those too, but got some ordering to do there, and track weathering and ballast, of course. And we'll wrap around here to Charleston elevator. I did get that home kit that I wanted. This kit's actually fairly similar, I believe, to the prototype, so I need to get that built, and that'll be placed over in this area. You see I have a dirt road marked here, so another grade crossing I get to attempt. And this will be with a dirt road, so we'll probably do maybe wood timbers across the tracks. Although I should check the prototype, it might be concrete, I'm not sure. They may not even do wood anymore. They may all be upgraded to concrete, so I'll have to check Google Earth for that. But otherwise, it's just kind of a county road, dirt road that'll go off into the backdrop. And then I still need to add a co-op office here, which I think I might have a kit for already. Just need to get that located and built. And then a lot more detail and paint added to this elevator. And follow the main line around. This area I'll take a stab at building a pond. Add a lot more trees to kind of hide the transition of the main line around the curve. And the transition leads into the Wichita Industrial Park. Still need to add a few more small kits for this scrap plant, all metal recycling. And then over here to Clean Harbors refining facility, need to add some refinery type kit to the background of that, add some more interest to that scene. And then I still need to finish the tops here to Advent Mills, which is a kit bash job, which I haven't quite figured out yet, but I haven't got all the kits yet to finish that out anyway, so I just have to get those ordered and installed. Then we transition into the BNSF side of the Wichita yard with Cargill there in the back. That last spur has not been added, so I still need to get that glued in place and powered up, but otherwise all the track up here is done. And then here into the Wichita, or the BNF side of the Wichita yard. And back down to what was featured at the beginning. And I did get a lot of this pre-painting, I guess, done, so it won't take too much to go ahead and finish track weathering and then adding ballast there. The turnouts really slow you down. If you haven't painted turnouts before or added ballast, you got to be really careful about those, that you don't gum up the points so they don't switch. So that does add a little extra time, but it's well worth it in the end. Then this bridge, I'd already thought of another addition to add. A lot of modern bridges now have fencing along the edges, and I'm not going to go into detail what I think those are for, but adding a little fence along the top will be some neat detail for either side of the bridge. And I have those kits thanks to Whistle Stop Models, those 3D printed fences that he has. So I look forward to adding those just for some more visual interest there. And then back down the UP side of the yard. I did get another kit, one of these large grain bins to help fill out this triangle area, this empty space. I want to have that more or less totally full, just to kind of help continue this view block that I have between the main grain elevator and the wall here where Cargill is, to kind of fully separate these scenes as much as possible. And then we transition over here to Towanda, where I've got one of my concrete kits here. I think this scene here, I will probably work on getting the grade crossing done before I do any ballasting, to try it the other way, to see if it's better to do it that way than it is to ballast up to the point and then add the crossing. Because again, I've never done that before. Need to do some more research before I figure that out. And then these two figures here, that would be Mrs. Claus there and Mr. Claus. These are what my wife added. She got involved. She likes to place these things on the layout here and there. And then she wanted to have people that found those get an extra vote in the poll this weekend. So you guys know who you are. There weren't many responses. I didn't expect a whole lot there. But for those of you that did spot those and left a comment about it, you guys get an extra vote for the poll this weekend. So thanks for participating in that. It definitely pleased my wife. Anyway, over here, the Dorado oil field. Have one more of these kits to build, and then that'll be it for pump jacks, and then just have to finish up this scene. And then we transition to the Dorado Industrial Park. Got mirrors here. Might add another smaller structure alongside this. I'm not sure. The prototype does have quite a bit of structure collection for that, so might add another one here in the background. I'm not sure yet. And then over here to Barton Solvents and BG Products. I do want to add another structure back here. I'm not going to probably use all these tanks. I want to have another structure similar to that, or similar to that flat that I want to add in this area. Probably will do a flat, but probably won't use all those tanks. I'm just not sure yet. Do want to add some more of this fencing, also from Whistle Stop Models. I really enjoyed doing this barbed wire on the top. I think that'll look really neat. For both this 6-foot fence and that 12-foot fence, security fence that'll go around this facility. I think that'll be a neat detail to add. And from here, we transition over to the Dorado Oil Refinery. This last spur here that you see not connected, that'll probably be the last piece of track that gets finished on the layout, because I don't want to do that until I have probably all of the structure complete, just to make sure I can put the structures where I want and then make the track go with the space that's left. So that's probably going to be the last track that's finished on the whole layout. Lots of structure work to do left for this facility. This concrete pad will probably be totally filled by refinery towers and so on. And then over here we have the transition for the lift out bridge. I've just added more trees to kind of help viewers understand that I plan to mostly hide this track to kind of mask this breaker box in the background that I can't really do much with. And then over here to Union Tank Car Company, which does look a whole lot better with the window blocked out. So I'm glad I decided to go ahead and do that. And it'll look even better once I get the backdrop added. So that is it for today's update. I'll now open up the polling. Leave in the comments below the area of the layout that you would like me to work on for the next 2 weeks. Polling is open until this coming Sunday at midnight, U.S. Central Time. And then Monday evening, I work a day shift on Monday, so Monday night I'll do the update video on the poll results and share my plan for carrying out your request for the next 2 weeks. So that's about it. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks for watching, and thanks for participating.